Warning, this channel is meant for viewers 21 plus and was created for educational and documentary purposes only. Beginner Buzz does not condone illegal activity and certainly does not sell anything, so don't even ask. Seriously. How's it growing, everyone? Well, the time is finally here for Season 2. We know a lot of you have been waiting for this for a couple of weeks, so toke up, kick back, because it's about to go down. Now, for those of you that aren't active on our social media, a few things have changed, and we're more than excited. We've always said that growing cannabis is a passion and a hobby for a reason. There's so many ways to accomplish the same task. With countless techniques and practices to learn, it's virtually impossible to get bored. Although we probably should have just stuck to making one change, things are going to look quite different in the tent after what we did. Not only are we using a different feeding method, we've also changed our medium up entirely. As if that wasn't enough to make you curious, we're also about to unbox a brand new light, seeing how so many people were upset with our starter blurple lights in the last season. Either way, things are about to get a little more than interesting, so let's get into it.
She always gets what she wants.
Alright guys, so this season has already presented us with a few challenges as we changed things up in our tent, but we'll discuss them as we come to each one. Of course, we had to try out a few new strains this time around and decided to go with Pineapple Express and Gorilla Glue. Now, last season we pH balanced our water we grew our seeds in, and after seeing so many people say this wasn't needed, we decided to opt out of that this time. Instead, we merely filled a few jars with some room temperature RO water and dropped our beans. Beyond that though, not too much has changed. At first, at least.
Just like that, we threw what would soon be our newest ladies into our tent, zipped it up, and let them sit in darkness for about 18 to 24 hours. Like last time, we immediately saw progress, but not everything went according to plan. Much to our surprise, 3 seeds hadn't cracked open just yet. Regardless, we decided to stick to the time schedule that worked so well for us last time and just kept on trucking. Now, last season, the tap roots of a few of the seeds started to grow their roots directly into the paper towel that we're set to use in the next step. However, we got a tip from one of our viewers that we thought we'd put to the test. Rather than use a paper towel, they suggested to use coffee filters, and we thought, why not?
After lightly placing our girls inside and wrapping them up, we then put the moistened coffee filter inside of a Ziploc baggie to prevent evaporation. In the end, this means that you don't have to risk your seeds drying out. And who doesn't like less to stress about? With the girls tucked away, we placed them back into darkness, this time for about 36 hours, and this is where things started to take a turn. Unlike last time, we didn't quite get a 100% germination rate. Those 3 seeds that didn't crack open hadn't even begun to show progress, while the taproots of 3 others seemed to stop just after breaking out of the shell. As we previously mentioned though, that's not all we've changed. You may remember that last season was grown in cocoa using bottled newts. Wanting something a little more organic and easy, we decided to use what is called super soil. Essentially, it's soil amended with a bunch of stinky stuff like bat guano and worm castings, as well as a slew of other ingredients in order to give these ladies lasting meals that will sustain them for months on end, outside of the occasional watering, of course. That said, making the super soil was seriously easy using Nature's Living Soils mix.
Simply fill a pot about 1/3 of the way up with regular soil. We decided to use Fox Farms Happy Frog. Seeing how we were using 5-gallon pots, we simply added in a pound of the super soil mix and gave it a good stir. Once that's set, you merely need to fill up the rest of the pot with regular soil and you're good to go. So that's exactly what we did.
And all I see is that you're running from your past, yeah. Just like a dream, can't seem to make yourself go fast, yeah. You keep on going, but you're falling. It's now or never, push it all in. I'm not alright, no.
From there was only one thing left to do. Do it again and again until each one of our pots was filled.
And time passed by, I can't see clear, think I'm lost inside, and the end is near. It's just not fair. It's just not fair.
Making sure not to make the same mistake we made last time, we pH balanced some water and wet down the pots before we put the seeds in. That way we wouldn't disturb the freshly placed lady once she was beneath the surface. Before getting the seeds for transplanting, there was one more thing we needed to put inside the tent.
With as many complaints as we got about the blurple lights last season, we decided to opt for what is known as a quantum board light. Specifically, we went with the MarsHydro TS2000, and this thing was sweet, especially given the cost. Not only does this fixture give off a nice clean light, it's big enough to fully cover half the tent and seems to be quite a bit stronger than the typical Chinese LEDs.
Could never take it from me. Got the confidence of every motherfucker who said fuck me. Fuck you. Go figuring out a boy here rising like the sun in the morning. Yeah, that's the horizon. Raise the bar like Verizon. In my town, I'm the flash. You see the sun shining, forever climbing. Oh, never mind it. We in different climates, and I'm the hottest up in here like Jordan in Game 6. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. All my life I knew I had all the swag, all the swag. All my life I knew I had to get that bag, get that bag. Yeah.
With the light and soil set to go, there was only one thing left to do: transport these germinated beans. Remember, not too deep, and don't pack it down so hard that the seeds can't grow. Simply put, we like to create a hole down to about the first knuckle on your pointer finger and then lightly sprinkle some loose soil on top after the seed has been placed inside.
From there, we set our lights to 24 inches from the top of the pots, and then it was time to wait. Fortunately for us, it merely took a day or so before we noticed a few of our ladies already breaching the surface. For the most part, they look pretty great, but as is usually the case for us, there's always one or two that need a little help. Now, this part is actually a very delicate procedure, and it's one that you need a steady hand for and a lot of patience. Just like last season, we had one girl whose leaves were still stuck in the shuck, the inner membrane of the seed shell.
All we simply needed to do here was take a pointed pair of tweezers and slowly remove the shuck. If you do ever go this route though, make sure you go slow and don't unintentionally rip off the entire head of the plant. Once that's done though, the affected lady will open her leaves and continue to grow, just like that. Although we had a rough start, this season is going to happen one way or another. We've got the plants and they're already well on their way, taking huge strides right out of the gate. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to tell us what you think of the quantum board lights in the comments. Feel free to follow us along on any one of our social media accounts for additional content, and make sure you tune in next week to see how our girls are coming along. Until then, keep learning, keep growing. Catch you later, guys.
All my life I knew I had